I finished chemotherapy number 12, and that's the last one in theory that I have to do unless they detect something else. So this one was probably the roughest, and it was for reasons that I haven't heard many people talk about, and that is the peripheral neuropathy. Man, I had some stress. I moved in the middle of after chemotherapy session, which just caused that's really that's a difficult time to move, and it was the stress level that caused me a lot of problems because of the move. Moving is very stressful, but what got it really bad was peripheral neuropathy, and I've developed what's called hand and foot syndrome. I don't know if you can see this. I'll put it up here. Um, See how my fingertips and my thumb are peeling, and that's part of hand and foot syndrome. This happened with the 12th chemo. It's I looked it up. It's the chemicals are bleeding through the capillaries and affecting the skin and whatever, and you can get it in the palm of your hand and whatever. So it makes your fingertips very sensitive. The peripheral neuropathy makes them feel like they're asleep. With the hand and feet syndrome, it gets hard. And the test that they say is, can you button up your shirt? And I was actually getting really difficult to button up my shirt. I could do it, but it actually started to get painful and difficult. I wear what are called diabetic shoes anyway, because they give a bit more support, and they're with Velcro straps, so I don't have to tie them. And so tying up my shoes is not a problem, but boxing up stuff, that was a real problem because I got to the point where I couldn't, and I actually had to have people come in and help me box up, which was stressful because I wanted to. You get people going through your stuff. With movers, normally you box up the stuff and they just move it, but now I have to have people come in and box up the stuff, and I'm not, are you comfortable with them boxing up that, which caused me some stress. And I wanted to go through, and they boxed up, in essence, you're giving top level, I want you to pack up the kitchen. So they're, everything in the kitchen. So they're packing up everything in the kitchen. And there were things that I really needed to throw away, but they boxed up and packed up and shipped anyway because I said, box up the kitchen. And they did it, then they did a good job. And 10 years ago when I moved, I had two men in a truck move me, and that wasn't a good move. They vastly underestimated the amount of stuff I had, and that cost a lot more than they estimated, and everything. But I went back to them 10 years later, and I'll be honest, when the guy walked in, and he could tell I was stressed. I'm talking really rapidly, and he says, don't worry, relax, we'll take care of it. And his confidence and calm demeanor helped a lot, and I really appreciate that. And it really, I can't recommend them more because they gave me peace of mind when I was packing. It was still stressful, and getting here and all the other things, but now I'm unboxing and going through things like that, and so it's much more relaxed pace, and I can take that slowly and unbox things and things like that. So moving was very, very stressful, and and because my hands got to the point where picking up anything, opening a bottle or anything like that was really, really difficult. And I'm getting now it's not as bad now. It's still there, but the peripheral neuropathy caused another interesting thing, which I hadn't heard anybody else mention. And because it affects my hands, it also affects my feet. And I didn't realize how dangerous that was until I was driving with someone, and I misplaced my foot, and in my car my foot was sitting on both the brake and the gas, and I was pushing on both. And this is because I don't feel the pressure correctly. on the foot, and it's was dangerous, and I didn't realize how dangerous that could be. And you don't think about the danger. They never mentioned driving, but I'm going to mention it. It's dangerous when you have this. Now, with that said, I have been doing a little bit of driving, and I try to drive late at night when there's not many people out on the road, and I'm trying to learn how to control my feet better, and I'm getting feeling back slowly. It's coming back, and I notice that for me the hardest thing right now is what I guess what the term I would use is creeping forward. You come up to the stoplight and you stop, and there's say half a car length or a full car length between you and the car in front of you. You've basically come to a stop, and you need to creep forward, or say the car in front of you has moved forward, and the line is compressing, and you're moving and you need to creep forward. That it's jerky. You press on the brake and then you release, and I'm jerky because I don't have the sensitivity in my feet. I'm getting better at that, and that's one of the things I'm trying to practice, is to understand how to control the car, that fine motor control that you've had after driving for 40 years, more. That's scary thought. But 44 years. So I've been driving for that long. So, but you're used to it, and I thought I was a very, shall we say, cautious driver. My late wife was really, her back would bother her, and any jerk in the car, and she would complain. And so I tended to try and drive very cautious, very jerk free. And right now I know I'm jerking because I don't feel things as well, and I need to get back to that fine motor control with driving. But there's that. The hands and feet, I can type, and it's peeling. I don't know if you can see how to show you, but see, my finger is peeling and my thumb is peeling, and it's a little bit irritating with the peeling, and I trim it off with the nail clippers, the stuff that's peeled, that's come away, and so I don't have all these little nibs sticking out of my fingers. But they're numb. My fingers are numb. I can snapping my fingers I really can't do, and it's uncomfortable. Shall we say, to try and do that. It doesn't feel good when I do that, so I'm not going to do that anymore. But it's until my hands get better, and that should happen slowly. Hands and feet, I got to put lotion on. I've been trying to put lotion on my hands, and that seems to help some. But I do have the hands and feet syndrome. So what happens is everything looked good. All my blood tests are good. I went in early because I had my doctor's working with me so I can, because of the move, I need to get a new doctor. It's way too far to drive to my current oncologist. So I've got to find a doctor in this area. But my oncologist wanted to do a clean transition, and by that she wanted me to get a PET scan or a CT scan, and so I've got all the imagery, and then we'll hand it off, and she'll give me some recommendations for some new oncologists in this area. She's going to be looking those up. So what happens is that everything looks good. I will find out in maybe 3 to 4 weeks when I get all the results back of this. But none of they test my blood, and see how it's affecting my white blood cells and my red blood cells and my platelets and my hemoglobin and all that. Those go up and down. But I'm doing fairly well for somebody on this who's gone through 12 cycles of chemo. And the nurses all come at, yes, I've got my blood count, my CBC is actually very good for where I'm at, just finishing chemo, because it's going to take a while for that to get back up to normal. And the I need to do that. Then I get my scan, so I'll have all the imagery for the new doctor, and then the transition. So I'll find that out in a little while. But I'm optimistic. I'm doing extremely well. Going to the cancer center is somewhat depressing, because you see people who are really, really sick, who are really having that, and you see breast cancer seems to be really very difficult on the women. It seems to that, I mean, colon cancer, men seem to be handling that. That's the most common for men, and but going through the cancer is rough. Thankfully, I remember talking with the nurses. The worst is when you see a child in there, and they said they don't have that many of them come there to the cancer center that I was going to, and it's you get to learn, you get to meet all the nurses and know what's going on, and it's I am glad to be done with that, hopefully. So I don't want to go back. I mean, they were very nice people, and helped me through all of this, and it's been an interesting adventure, shall we say. Not one I had planned, and not one I would recommend, but it's been an interesting adventure. Just going through all the challenges with chemo, learning a bit about something that I hadn't learned about, and seeing what's going on. And I feel good. I'm tired, I admit. This one hit me because I was really tired, and I know when they were packing up, I just went out into the car and put the seat back and actually slept for a couple of hours while they were packing, because I was too tired. The same thing as when the people cleaning the apartment up, and I was just exhausted from nothing. And that has been probably the worst. That I really appreciate my company being so supportive of me going through this, and it's worked out well. I will do another video when I find out more about the results of my CT scan, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm looking forward to continuing on. I'll give you any updates if my hands get better, get worse. It's just, the scaly part of my finger. I don't know if you can see that. It's starting to come in focus, but it's how my thumb is peeling and so on. And that's called hand and foot syndrome. And there's another long-winded name that I can't pronounce for that. And it's just that my fingertips boxing up things was really becoming bad, and just doing that's, shall we say, it's both hands are slightly asleep, and it's like if your hands have been asleep and it's uncomfortable in an odd, weird way, and I'm just looking forward to the point when my fingertips are back to normal, and that I can do that. I can type because I type on the pads of my fingers, but it's just I'm not as accurate. I make a lot more typing mistakes than I used to because of this. But it's been fun in a weird way, in that it's a learning experience that I hope you don't ever have to go through. But if you do, I'd like to hear from you guys. I'd like to hear what you think. If you've had cancer and gone through chemotherapy, or members of the family, tell me. It's been an adventure that I don't recommend, but it's better than the alternative. And I still remember hearing about people who turned down chemotherapy, and I go, from my experience, yes, it's unpleasant. It's about as unpleasant a thing as, but it's not this horrid thing that people say. So relax, go through it, have a good mental attitude, and you'll come out the other end. much better. So thank you for listening. Just thought I'd give you an update where I'm at, and I'll do another one of these when I get final diagnosis, and if anything else happens that's bad, but I hope not. But thank you for watching.